if you knew you were enough? What would your life look like? What would love look like? This is the Enough Factor broadcast, where we're redefining what makes you enough in life and in love. Now here's your host, S2-E09. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Enough Factor podcast. My name is S2-E09, and it is indeed a privilege to bring you content that not only uplifts, but calls into question anything that does not align with this undeniable fact. You are enough. In fact, you're more than enough. And here to help reinforce that message is my special guest, Nes Reign. But before I introduce her, if this is your first time tuning in, I want to give you a wholehearted thank you. There are so many other podcasts you could be listening to right this moment, but you're tuning in and listening to me. What about that? What makes our podcast different is it's built on three critical factors. I call them the three critical factors of enoughness, and they are your voice, your value, and your vision. And I feel that by amplifying those critical factors, you will see more clearly who you are, whose you are, and why you are, thereby experiencing love and life in a brand new way. So if that resonates with you, you're in the right place. Now, there's a wonderful woman who's sitting opposite me, and I feel like I was destined to meet her. She's none other than Nes Reign. Nes was born in Tetouan, Morocco, and migrated to Germany with her family, where her dad lived prior to marrying her mom at the age of 3. She lost deal as a member of a trio girl group at the age of 15. Go Nes! After about 5 years, everything came to an end due to issues within the group and financial and contractual issues with the management. They parted ways, and she pursued acting and hosting on TV. Nes got involved in event management and started writing for a magazine. Eventually, she also started with music again. She lived in London and worked internationally. However, 3 years ago, her life dramatically changed. Her sister was tragically murdered. She quit music and moved back to Germany. Nes, I want to start right here by welcoming you and letting you take us the rest of the way. So everybody, welcome Nes Reign.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform.
So I almost feel like after reading your bio, however, that we need to pause for a moment of silence to honor your sister and her life. So we're just going to take a moment to pause and breathe for a moment to just honor her. Oh my, can you tell us first how you're doing? Because this is a mental health journey.
Right, and I think people who go through something like that or experience something like that, we all have these kind of like days where you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to do anything, you just want to be there and really do nothing. And it's kind of like a depression that you're dealing with, but then you try to fight it. You have only two choices. You try to fight it, or you try to, live that depression. I have days where I say to myself, I have to be okay because I can't function otherwise. There's still other people. I still have my parents, and, I still have people who still rely on me. And I can't let them down, and this is more or less my motivation. It's not myself, to be honest. It's more like my parents or anything. That was the reason why I even moved back to Germany from London. I was living in London. I was doing everything out there. I just, all of a sudden, everything changed within a second.
That's one of those things about life. You can be going along, having your plans, you kind of have in your mind what you want to be doing, what direction you want to go in. And then all of a sudden, something just rips the rug right from under you. Yep. And I can imagine how, and you and your sister were very close.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, she used to call me like 10 times a day. And she used to call me for also like stupid things like, oh, you think I should eat a sandwich with cheese or with Nutella? And I'm like, just eat whatever you want, And then she'd be like, I'd be working or I'd be in the studio or doing something. She's like, it's super important. I need to talk to you like right now. And I promise I will be only 3 seconds. And then she was like, do you think I should cook pasta or I should eat salad? I was like, this is what you wanted me? Like, this is so important. Yes, it's super important. That's the kind of person she was. She was very, very fun, very, very crazy, and at the same time, very lazy as well. She used to just sit at home, love to eat, and love to watch her shows, and love makeup, love clothes. She was the one of a kind.
It's a whole lot of nothing, but there's so much joy and connection in the nothing that when it's gone, there's this empty space because she was part of your normal. She was part of the very fabric of your life.
I like how you said that because that's what it is, like your everyday and your day-to-day is your normal. And when something so important gets ripped out of it, because what I feel like people, whether it's friends or family members or whatever, I feel like titles do not connect you. I feel like it's way deeper than that. It's things that you have in common with the person. It's opinions that you share. It's like, sense of humor, I think, connects very much so. And we had all of that. She used to annoy me a lot. I probably annoyed her as well, but this is normal. Like, who's 100% on great terms all the time?
Exactly. It's that special dance. Wasn't that somebody that she knew?
No. So the whole story was the building where she lived in. They had they used to renew all the bathrooms in the apartments and flats. And a couple of days prior to the day, we went to her basement and she had all her, because a pipe broke, so all her things were wet, like water was coming down, and she had some stuff in her cellar, and then it was all like wet from the water. So she called the management company, the building management company, and she told them, and they said, oh, we have the plumbers in the building anyway, so we're going to just tell them to come by on Monday, because it was a Friday when we found this whole mishap in the basement. And on Monday, we were supposed to meet and go somewhere together with my mom. And she said, she called me and she was like, the plumber was here and they told me I have to stay here until 4 p.m. And then while I was speaking to her on the phone, the plumber came again. And then he said, I need to see the bathroom. So she let him in. He saw the bathroom. He left. And then he came back again. And mind you, it was a hot summer day. And she lived on the 4th floor and no elevators. So this guy, while we were talking, he came up 3 times and within the time span of like 20 minutes. And I was like, why is this guy coming up so often? Like, why does he want to keep seeing the bathroom or asking random questions? And then the last time he didn't want to leave. And I even told her, why is he still there? Tell him to go. And then she told him, okay, thank you. And she closed the door. And I said, this is pretty weird. I had a weird feeling, but I didn't think anything of it. The only thing I said to her is, I think you should come out. And she goes, but I can't. They told me to stay here. So we stayed on the phone talking. And after that, my sister, I told you, she gets in touch with me like a day 10 times a day. Like, you know, and I haven't heard from her, you know. And then at 4:36 p.m., I sent her a WhatsApp message. Said, "What are you doing?" No response. The message wasn't even open. So in the evening time, called and my mom, she called me late. She was like, "Yeah, I can't get in touch with your sister." And I was like, "Yeah, me neither, but she'll be okay. She'll be okay." Because she was engaged and she had an argument a couple of days prior with her guy. So I thought, okay, maybe they met to talk and make up or whatever. But I kept calling her the whole night. I just didn't want to, like, you know, worry my mom. The next morning, my older sister calls me now and says, "Oh, mom told me she can't get rid of she can't get in touch with Yasmina, and she wants me to go there, but I have to go to the airport because she was flying on holiday. She was flying on holiday to Greece." So, long story short, we went there eventually, didn't open the door, called the police. Police didn't want to come. As per usual, they say, "Oh, maybe she went out and she was sleeping, whatever." So no, they came, broke the door open, and she was dead in the bathtub. Yeah. And the guy who did it, he came to work. Like, we saw him downstairs because we were not allowed to go up because the police said, "No, we don't know if it's a crime scene or whatever." We just, like, everybody has to stay out because of the, fingerprints and everything. We shouldn't spoil it. All right. So the guy was there, and my older sister went to him and said, "Hey, you work here. Did you see my sister?" He goes, "No, I don't know her." And he ran away. And that to me was like, I said to the policeman, even, I said, "He did it. My sister did not just die of natural causes. He did it." And he said to me, "You can't say that." And I said, "Yes, I can. I definitely know he did it." And then he came back, this policeman. He asked me, said, "Does your sister have a phone?" I said, "Yeah, she's glued to her phone. All she does is be on her phone." He goes, "Well, there is no phone and no phone charger." And I said, "That's impossible. Can I come upstairs and look for it?" He goes, "No, I'm going to look again." He said, "How come the phone is missing, the phone charger is missing, the ID is missing, and her bank card is missing? This is weird." And the autopsy, they made a mistake. And what they did is they said, "Oh, she died of something to do with her stomach and her body poisoned herself or whatever, you know, some stupid thing that's not even, you know." And but this one policeman and my older sister's husband, because he's a doctor, he said, "No, this is not right. I checked. I did a blood test 4 weeks with her. She was perfectly fine. She's not sick. There is no way that there's no poison or anything, you know, that happened. Something is fishy." So then they did the investigation, and they investigated everybody. Everybody was basically one of the suspects, you know,
Right.
Even my brother. And at the end, it proved that it was the plumber, and he strangled her with her phone charger. He raped her. He strangled her with the phone charger, and then he drowned her in the bathtub. And she tried to fight him. And the crazy part of all of this is she was able, because she fought him, she threw a glass of water in his face, and she was able to escape into the hall. You know, she was on the stairs, and she was screaming for help, and the neighbor saw her, and he didn't make no move whatsoever to help.
Oh my God, Nes. So once all these facts started coming together, how did you not have some kind of a breakdown, or did you have an emotional breakdown?
I did have an emotional breakdown, but with me it's one thing. Like, I'm a person, if something happened, I have to find a solution. I have to, like, I'm so focused on this. It's like I cried so much. I cried every day, but I couldn't believe it. To me, it was surreal. Like, if you believe it or not, because he said, you know, like, when we went to see her, like, prior, before we even knew what really happened, we went to the hospital to see her one last time before she was going to go in the coffin. We stood there and we were waiting to go in the room and basically say our goodbye. And I was with my family and with friends, and I was hoping inside, we're going to go in there and they're all going to look at her and they're all going to tell me, this is not her. This is a different girl. It's not her. I was I convinced myself of that. So once we walked in this room and nobody said nothing, that's when I realized, oh my God, this is her. This is her. It's actually not this other girl that I hoped it to be, which sounds so wrong, but but it's her. And this is when I started focusing on all the investigations because I wanted to prove that something was going on, although I didn't want to believe it was murder. I wanted to believe it was natural causes because murder seemed so far away, so far-fetched, so, out of this world. And unfortunately, I was proven wrong. It was murder. And I had a breakdown when they arrested the guy and he admitted everything. And for me, what was the craziest thing, he was arrested on a Friday night and I didn't sleep for the whole weekend, not even a second. Like I was up for 72 hours. I was scared to fall asleep because I had crazy anxieties. That was my proper introduction to different kind of anxiety. I thought maybe he has a family, maybe they want to come for me too, or maybe they're gonna go for the rest of my family. Thank God my family, they're not here right now. I had like all crazy thoughts. My fantasy was going, somewhere completely different. Obviously none of this was true, but you tell a person who has anxieties, you tell them what's true and what's not true. They don't want to hear that.
Did you have to go see a therapist? What did you do that helped you to at least be able to function?
All right. This whole therapist thing is a whole different thing. Me and my family as well. So our background is Moroccan. So now it proved the point of like our communities, our foreign communities, we don't have enough people. Like my mom couldn't even get a therapist, for example, because she doesn't speak the language. And our culture and everything is different. Like going to really a white therapist who don't understand the culture and they kind of like don't know much about how to do things, it's very hard. With me now, I do speak the language, and I didn't have the nerve to go to therapy in the beginning because I was so focused on this guy needs to get needs to stay in jail. I don't want him to ever be able to do this to anyone again. So I was more focused on the court case that was upcoming. I was waiting. I was trying to find other cases. I was kind of like doing my own investigation, if it makes sense. And I even found out stuff that I was able to give to the police as well. I found other cases, and he was known because he had tried to rape and kill 2 other girls prior, and they took him to court, and he won the case, basically. The judge let him go. And he said that, he, on the other hand, he finally admitted to everything he did in detail. And he said, had they locked me up when they took me to court the first time, all of this would have never happened. He was even talking about having the next victim already in mind after my sister. And the thing is, the trial came up, and finally I was able to go see a therapist because you have to also wait on these waiting lists. And I had this woman, she was a white woman, but the good thing is with her, I'm able to articulate myself, and I'm kind of like, obviously grew up in this Western world and everything. I could speak to her and she understood me, but therapy didn't really help me. Like she could tell me nothing I didn't know myself. So I kind of like therapized myself,
So how did you therapize? That's a new word. I'm gonna have to write that down. But how did you walk yourself through it then? Because like you said, you're in a different culture. And it's so funny because with me growing up where I am, that's the natural thing. Go to your pastor, go to your therapist. What did you tell yourself something? Was there a mantra? Was there something? What did you do?
Okay, so prior to that, I would like to say the problem is we don't have enough therapists or enough qualified people in certain fields in our culture here, and this is what we're lacking. It's the same, I believe, in America as well. You have different people. You have people from different cultures, and whether it's Black culture, brown culture, or any culture, and we don't have enough qualified people within our communities to kind of like take care of the needs of the people within the community. So for me, what helped me really, and that's the only thing that helped me, and this is the craziest thing that happened. So all of this next month will be 3 years ago. And I haven't slept properly in 3 years. Like, I can't sleep. I suffer from, as I said, anxieties, from nightmares. My sleeping pattern is completely all over the place. And what happened to me, I was talking to a lot of people online to occupy my time, especially the nighttime. Then I met this young guy. He's much younger than me. And it's not like, we became friends, just like friends, because he was able to tell me about my religion so much that I didn't know. He was able to teach me about my religion. And I told him the whole story of what happened, because he could obviously see that something was completely wrong with me. And he told me so much. And I have to say, as cliche as it sounds, the religion actually helped me a lot to accept that she's gone and she's not coming back, and that she's in a better place, and all of these things.
So what about the religion? Was there a certain belief, or
yes?
So what was it that you heard when he told you about your religion? What is it that you heard that you gave you something to hold on to?
So I'm a Muslim, first of all, and the thing is, the religions are way more similar than they are different, and that's what a lot of people unfortunately fail to understand. That's why a lot of that's where people clash a lot. And I believe that this is a better place for her to be than being here. What is painful for us as humans being in this world is the way that she's left. If there's this one thing, being sad and grieving about a person and how they're not here anymore, but then there is a whole thing of also how this person went. If it's like a crime, if it's abuse, if it's however now, like it was sexual abuse, and then the outcome of it was murder because he didn't want to be caught, and he didn't want her to tell on him. This is something completely separate that one has to deal with as well.
It's like you needed context for it, because there was no sense that could be made.
Yeah.
So you needed something that you could wrap your head around. Otherwise, it would have driven you crazy. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely, and it still does. I still catch myself. I'm still asking, why did he have to do this? Like, why did he have to go this far? Why her? And there's so many questions. Why did it have to come this way? Why wasn't I there? Maybe I could have helped. Maybe I would have gone and she would have survived. Maybe there's so many whys and if, and but I also have to tell myself every now and but the outcome is the same.
Yeah, and I talked to you a little bit before this too, and it sounds like, as I listened to more and more of the story and the experience, rather, it definitely gives context to your podcast.
Yeah,
Dope and Damaged. So tell us more about your podcast and how that helps other people, but also how it's therapeutic for you too.
All right. So as a kid, I always wanted to be a journalist, and I wanted to do documentaries about people's lives and their stories in different countries, different parts of the world, cultures, and whatever. And I wanted to also always show not just the positive or not just the negative. I think there's a yin to a yang. There's a yin to a yang in every scenario. And that's why I wanted something that look or a dope character, but we still are all flawed, or something is going on with us, or we have a struggle or something to overcome. And this was then, working in the entertainment industry and doing all the superficial stuff. I wanted to give meaning to something that I wanted to do. I wanted to have my own platform that I can control, and I wanted to make it meaningful as much as possible. That's why I say, okay, we're here to motivate, edutain, which is a mix out of educate and entertain, of course, because we don't want to just be only, on this whole, okay, we have to take everything serious. We can joke, we can talk about different things. They can be educating, but they can be entertaining too. And we hope to inspire people. And for me, how it's therapeutic is because I can, first of all, I give people a platform to talk, and I allow them to be themselves and allow them to tell their story. And I always cared about people, and I always cared to know people's story and what they're about and where they're from. I'm always interested. So that's that.
You lost your sight and how all these different things have happened in your life, but yet here you are, beautiful, lovely, going through some struggle still, but still putting one foot in front of the other and making life better. As we come to the end of the interview, could you just tell us, first of all, how to get in contact with you, and secondly, what you want the takeaway to be for the people that have listened to our conversation today?
All right. So y'all can find me on Facebook and Instagram. It's just Nes and then Reign. And on Instagram, it's Nes_Reign. And then it's Dope and Damaged on all streaming platforms, YouTube, Instagram. Just feel free to reach out. And yeah, I'm always happy to talk. And what I wanted the takeaway of this podcast to be, first of all, you made it really easy for me to talk about this, because you have this whole way of, if you're super calm and you ask the right questions without being so, brash about it or whatever. And I want people to understand that that's why I even share my story. I'm not here to share it because I want fame or anything. I'm sharing the story because there is so much that went on in this case that was so wrong. That's why I started to write even a book about all of this. And I want people to know that you have to fight, and you have to give your life meaning, and that helps. And you have to give the person that you might have lost, if you have a similar situation, to give their legacy meaning, and that's why it's important to do things that this person might have liked or supported you in, or however, I know it sounds maybe weird or so, but I know that my sister, she was always supportive with these things, and I know what she was about, and I'm trying to also have certain elements of her within my podcast or everything, my day-to-day. Like every day I wear something of her, whether it's a ring, earrings, or anything, bag, anything. And that's what's important, knowing yourself and really understanding that you matter, and this person, whatever you go through, it can be really anything. Mm-hmm. You have to have a great relationship with yourself. And that's where everything starts. Everything after that is time and growth and everything. But you have to start shaping the relationship with yourself.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you so much again for your honesty, your vulnerability, for allowing us into a very private and still something that you still are struggling with. And my prayers are with you and your family as you try to move forward and give meaning to the life of your sister. I know we're from different religions, but I believe that she, in whatever spiritual realm your religion allows you to, I believe she's still here. I believe she's still with you, and I believe she's still cheering you on and giving you strength to move forward. You have just listened to the Enough Factor podcast with your host, Suzette Vernon. To get notified of new episodes or to dig deeper into today's topic, become a subscriber. And while you're at it, tell us how we're doing and what topics you're interested in. We appreciate your feedback and your reviews. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, you are enough.